And so let me begin with a few opening remarks. First, I'd like to thank the Society and Chiesi for sponsoring this satellite symposium. Really, they have three top speakers to address care in the delivery room in the first minutes, in the first hours, and beyond. As a point of disclosure, many of you know me as president of the Vermont Oxford Network and the coordinating editor of the Cochrane-Nino Review Group. I have no other relevant financial issues to disclose. By way of starting this session, I'd like to comment on the fact that our practice has seen radical changes in the past 10 years. So many practices, antenatally, delivery room practices, and neonatal practices have changed substantially. If we look at our database for very low birth weight infants, from the year 2000 to the year 2009, we see dramatic increases in the rates of cesarean section and the use of antenatal steroids. In the delivery room, practice has changed even more so. Many fewer infants are being intubated. In this slide in the light blue, you can see that there is a distinct decrease in the number of very low birth weight infants that we intubate immediately in the delivery room. And yet in the red bars, you can see that there's an increase in surfactant usage in these babies, which I believe is an interesting and strongly evidence-based practice. Intubate fewer infants, stabilize on less invasive support, but if intubated, give surfactant. Practices in the NICU have also varied wildly. Since the strong statements from various academies regarding the use of postnatal steroids, we have seen a drop in the use of postnatal steroids from 29% in the late 1990s to around 7 or 8% today. Interestingly, some very invasive and high technical practices have pervaded the unit. Now, over 1 in every 5 infants who are treated in the NICU are at some point in their course put on high frequency oscillation. The use of less invasive support in the NICU has also increased. In fact, it has almost doubled in the past decade. But the question for this evening session is, how have these practice changes influenced outcome? In fact, despite all these radical changes, we have seen only very small improvements in the outcome of our infants. Chronic lung disease is down perhaps 1% in the past 10 years, and mortality down approximately 2%. So we have to examine these practices. We have to ask ourselves, which of these practices are evidence-based? Which of these practices are we not using well? And how can we make a bigger difference to our infants? And I'm very pleased to see that all three speakers have a great deal to share with us from the delivery room, from stabilization in the NICU, and beyond regarding evidence-based practice in the neonate. So I'll turn things over to Professor Lista for his comments. I look forward to a very interesting symposium this evening.